Hi, I'm Ivan from Webbosh, and in this video, I'll show you how to use Radix, which is a Bootstrap 4 theme for Drupal 8. Now, I have covered other Bootstrap themes in the past. We have looked at Barrio, which is a Bootstrap 4 theme, as well as the Bootstrap theme itself. But as of this recording, it only supports Bootstrap 3. Radix is targeted towards advanced Drupal themers. It allows you to compile Bootstrap locally instead of pulling it in via a CDN. Now, this gives you a lot of flexibility. For one thing, you can control exactly which CSS components will be imported and compiled, thus reducing the size of your compiled CSS file. And you can also change the Bootstrap variables. This allows you to change the colors, the grid values, the font sizes, the header font sizes, all sorts of stuff. In this video, you'll learn how to install Radix, generate a subtheme, configure the Webpack file which comes with Radix so you can use Browsersync, and you'll learn how to use the Radix Layouts module with Layout Builder module in Drupal core. So with that, let's jump right in. So here is my stock standard Drupal 8 site. The only thing that I have done is install Drupal using the standard installation profile. Now, to learn more about Radix and also to download it, head over to drupal.org/project/Radix, where you can learn all about the Radix theme. You can see here that it supports Bootstrap 4, Font Awesome, Browsersync. You can also see which module is required. So the theme has a dependency on the components module. And then if you come all the way down here, you can see all the different versions. Now, the one that we are interested in is the version 4 branch. Make sure you use version 4 of the module. Now, we are going to download the dev release of version 4 because there is a commit which updates all of the node packages. Once they release a version 4.1, you won't have to download the dev version. So to begin, let's first go ahead and download components and then the Radix theme. So jump into your terminal, type in composer, require Drupal/components. This will download the components module which Radix requires. And now let's just download Radix, require, and then make sure you specify the dev version if you want to use the latest dev release. Okay, so now that everything is installed, let's go to our site. Let's go to extend and let's install the components libraries. And then go under appearance and let's first install Radix. Now, the reason why we need to install the base theme, even though you don't want to use the base theme, of course, you want to always create a subtheme, is because the Radix theme comes with a Drush command to generate subthemes. So let's jump back into our terminal and type in drush radix --help so we can have a look at the commands. So to create a Radix subtheme, just run drush radix and then enter your theme name like so. And if you want to specify a different machine name, you can do so by using the machine name option. So in our case, let's just type in drush radix Ivan Radix and hit enter. Now, a word of warning. This command only works for Drush 8, not Drush 9. Now, I've been using Drush 9 for a lot of my projects for like the last year or so. And so I had to set things up differently to use Drush 8 in this case. So if you are using Drush 9 on a massive project, what I recommend you do is set up a test site to just generate your theme, because you just have to generate this subtheme once and then you can copy it across and do whatever you want with it. But just understand that Drush Radix does not work with Drush 9, it only works with Drush 8. And there is an issue in the issue queue about it. So let's now jump into our site. And then if we go under themes, you can see that our Radix theme is there under contrib, but let's just clean things up. and let's create a custom folder under themes, and then move our sub theme into custom. And then here you can see our generated sub theme. Now let's go ahead and install it. So let's just hit refresh. And then if we scroll all the way down, you can see Ivan Radix, which is the sub theme which I created. And then let's just click on install and set as default. And what I'll also do is turn off JavaScript and CSS aggregation just to make sure we can see all of the assets that are getting imported in. And then here you can see that our site looks a little broken or unstyled. And the reason for that is because we haven't compiled Bootstrap yet. So now let's go ahead and compile Bootstrap. And to do that, let's first jump into our sub theme. So CD into themes, then custom, and then Ivan Radix. And then type in npm install. Now make sure you have Node.js installed and npm. So now let's jump back into our sub theme, and you can see the Node modules folder. Of course, that has a lot of code in there. And then if you click on package.json, you can see the actual run commands that we can run, like dev, watch, hot, and production. Let's just run dev for now, just so that we can compile things. So let's jump back into here and type in, well, let's clear it. So it's right at the top, npm run dev. So this will go ahead and compile all the Sass and the JavaScript, but it won't minify anything or uglify anything because we are running the dev script. And then if we go back into our sub theme under assets, you can see the CSS is here. And then you can also see the compiled JavaScript. And then if we go into our website, you can see that Bootstrap is loading, but the site kind of looks broken. Now, the reason for that is because blocks haven't been added to the right region. Okay, so the theme comes with a few regions. So if we go into the .info file, you can see that there's navbar branding, navbar left, navbar right, header, content, page bottom, and footer. Now, if you want the navigation to work properly, you need to make sure you add the main navigation block into navbar left, and then the user account menu needs to go into navbar right. Now, I do have a whole tutorial on setting up Radix, as well as which blocks go into which regions, and you can grab a link below this video. So you don't have to, try and scribble notes as I'm doing things very quickly. Okay. There is a text version of this video over at webwash.net. Just grab the link below this video. Okay, so let's jump back into our site and let's rearrange some blocks. So go into structure, block layout. And what we'll do, let's remove some blocks. So let's remove search because we don't want to use it. So we can do that by clicking on remove. Now, this doesn't delete the block. It only removes the placement of the block. So if you want to add in search later, well, you just click on place block and click on, where is it? Search. Search is here somewhere. Yeah, search form. And that's it. So we haven't actually deleted anything. We have only deleted the placement of it. So let's remove, okay, so we have removed search, and let's remove tools because that's not really used. And now what we need to do is jiggle a few of these blocks around. So let's move breadcrumbs into header, footer menu. Can you guess it? Yes, it goes into footer. Main navigation goes into navbar left. Status message goes into header. User account menu goes into navbar right. And then powered by Drupal goes into footer. I mean, you can add that anywhere. It really doesn't matter. Now, site branding goes into navbar is it called site branding? Oh yeah, navbar branding. And then let's just move a few things around here. So page title goes into header, tabs, header, help, header, primary admin actions, header. Make sure you have main page content in the content region. And then everything looks, I think, sweet at this point. Now, these blocks can be in any order, really doesn't matter. Maybe you want your tabs above the page title. I don't know. It's up to you. It really doesn't matter. You may want to put help above. Again, doesn't matter. But the important thing, just to get a decent looking site, is to make sure that you have site branding in navbar branding, main navigation in navbar left, user account menu in navbar right, and then of course, main page content in content, and then just click on save blocks. And then if we go back to our homepage, everything looks kind of better. But then if we resize, we get the nice menu, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so now that we have a working site, now let's make a few changes to our Radix subtheme. Let's now change the variables in Bootstrap. So what I'll do is, let me just fix up a few things here. I'll move this to the right, move this to the left. And what we'll do, okay, so let's jump into components, Sass, base, variables. So from here, you can control the variables that Bootstrap uses, okay? And there's a lot in there. Okay, there's a lot. Now, every time you make a change to this, so let's just change this to red. So this blue will be used as the primary color. So Bootstrap has this concept of colors where it's primary, secondary, success info, warning, danger, light, dark. Anyway, this is a Bootstrap-ism. So essentially, when you define your colors, you wouldn't say, okay, this button is a red, you'll say this button is the primary color. So that, because what happens if you want to change your site to a different color and not call it red, then you have all these variables which are called red. But you can see that, yeah, this variable is called blue, but it's just defined up here, okay? So let's just imagine that we changed this color, and then we could go in here and type in, again, npm run dev. It's going to go through and compile things. But it's a very slow and tedious process. As soon as you make a change, okay, so the change has happened. Let's hit refresh, and it's changed, okay? But it's a very tedious process. If you want to make another change, again, you have to then come here and do the whole thing, okay? Now, luckily for us, Radix does support Browsersync. Now, what is Browsersync? Well, I'm no front-end expert, but essentially Browsersync, I think, works with Webpack where it watches for changes. So if you make a change to a Sass or a JavaScript, and then it will automatically refresh the browser so that you don't have to touch anything. Okay, you just make your change, wait half a second, and it just updates automatically. Let me show you this, okay? This is pretty awesome. Now, this is all front-end stuff. It's not Drupalisms. It's not a Drupal thing, so you can use it in any project you want. This is all just front-end technology. So the first thing we need to do is let's head over to our subtheme, click on webpack.mix.js, and then you have to change. Well, let me just open this up. Okay, you have to change this proxy constant and then just point it to your site. So in our case, it will be d8-radix.local, which is exactly that. Let me pop that back in. Hit save, and then we need to run npm run watch. So what happens now? Well, it's going to go ahead and do whatever it does, but then it's going to give us URLs that we need to use. So instead of accessing our site through d8-radix.local, we actually go through a proxy URL. And so then Browsersync can automatically update things. So if I was to create a new tab, pop this in there, it says Browsersync connected. If I now go into the variables, Let's just hit refresh. Okay, so you can see that it's still red. If I was to change this to a beautiful green, hit save, it automatically changes. Now, I didn't refresh the page at all. And then if we go into our terminal, you can see that there is a log here, which is pretty cool. So that is Browsersync, and I highly recommend that you use it while developing your Radix-based site. Okay, now let's change this back to a proper color, because that green's just disgusting. Oh, you can barely read it. Wait a second, and there you go. See? Awesome. Browsersync. Awesome. Okay, and now let's look at Radix layouts. Now, this is a companion module for Radix. And the module is pretty basic. It just ships a whole bunch of Radix layouts. And that's it. And the version 4 of the module implements all of these layouts using the Bootstrap 4 grid system. And so here you can see that there are a lot of options here. Okay, you have a large selection of layouts. So what we're going to do is let's first download this module. Let's first close this off. Let's jump back into our doc root. And then let me just clear that so you can all see it. And then type in composer require Drupal/Radix layouts. Okay, so now let's jump into our site. And then let's just refresh everything here. And then go under extend. And then if we search for Radix, there should only be one module there called Radix layouts. And it does have a dependency on layout discovery. So let's just click on install. Now, Radix layouts on its own doesn't offer any type of functionality. The only thing it offers is layouts. But then you have to use a module that can read and use those registered layouts. So if we have a look at Radix layouts, let me just open this up. And let's just close everything. And let's just go into modules, contrib, Radix layouts. You can see that it is pretty basic. I mean, the .module file has nothing in there, and that should be Bootstrap 4. Under libraries, well, you just have some CSS, but the layouts.yaml, this is where you define your layouts. So you can see things such as machine name, label, category, and then you define your paths. And then that is under plugins, layouts, and then you can see all of the layouts here. Now, for complex designs, you would often just build your own layouts because it's much easier and you have full control over the markup. And I always tend to just build my own layouts because it just gives me way more control. Okay, because I have built Drupal 8 sites where they wanted to add divs in all sorts of places, and I would have spent ages trying to override Drupal to do it. Well, then I'll just create my own layouts. And then if we look into one of these templates, you can see that they are pretty basic. They are very bootstrappy. You can straight away see Bootstrap markup here, and then also you get a few Radix specific classes. So you may like this, you may not like it, but at the end of the day, you could essentially just override this tweak template and go nuts and do whatever you want with it. But one thing to be aware of is that these widths amount. So if you wanted to change this to say 6, well, you can't do it through a UI. You would have to override the template. So that is kind of hard coded. But again, if you want to make dramatic changes like that, well, then it's just best to implement your own layout. But let me show you how to use these layouts with a core module called field layout. Now, I'm going to be saying the word layout a lot in the next bit, so apologies. All right, so let's jump into our site and let's search for field layout. Now, field layout is experimental, so use at your own risk. So just be aware of that. Now, field layout is a pretty cool module. It is it is a simplified version of Display Suite. Now, if you don't know what Display Suite is, there is a link below this video where you can learn about it, because I've written about it, and I also have a ton of videos about Display Suite. But essentially, Display Suite allows you to modify the Manage Display section of a content type or any type of entity. Now, field layout is kind of a simplified version of it, where Display Suite allows you to do all sorts of stuff. Field layout is kind of like a core way of doing things, like a Drupal core way. Anyway, let's just jump into it. So if we go into structure, content types, and let's modify the article content type, and then let's enable full content, because I like working with the full content view mode. And then you can see here that you only have like one region content. And if you want to disable these formatters, you just move them to disabled and you're done. But then if you click on layout settings, you can select a layout. Now this columns 1, 2, and 3, these come with Drupal core. But then you have, under Radix, you have the Radix ones. Now these names, I don't know why they created these names. Harris. Yeah, because that really looks like a Harris to me. I don't know. I'm sure there was a particular reason, and naming things is hard. Okay. So let's just pick blur flipped. So, we have a sidebar column here and a content region there on the left, and click on save. And so now we have the regions. So let's just move this around. Oh no, let's not disable it. Let's put it into content. Let's put body into content, and let's leave everything else there. And what I'll do is let's create a test article. So I'm just going to go through this very quickly. And let's give it a tags of Drupal, WordPress, Joomla, React, Vue. Was it Vue? Vue.js. I probably spelled that wrong. Anyway. Okay. Click on save. And now you can see that our article is in 2 columns. And then if we inspect, you can see our 2 columns. All right. But as I mentioned, there is no easy way to change these values. So what if you wanted to change this left-hand side to be 9 columns wide, and then this one to be 3 columns wide? There's no easy way of doing that unless you just override the templates. So that is how you use Radix layouts with field layout. Now let me show you how to use it with Layout Builder, because Layout Builder is the new big exciting thing for Drupal. The day will come when we will have an actual proper page builder in Drupal. Now, I do understand there are paid for premium page builders out there. I do understand that, but it's good to have an open source one that is supported in core. I do like that, because paragraphs, can be painful. Anyway, let's first uninstall field layout, just to make sure that there's no conflicts, because I do not want a conflict right now. So let's just uninstall it, and then under list, search for Layout Builder. Again, Layout Builder is experimental. Use at your own risk. All right, let's go under structure, content types, and then again, manage display, full content, and you can see that everything's back into the content region. And then let's click on use Layout Builder, and then the UI changes, and we need to manage everything from the manage layout. So things are a little different here in Layout Builder. Using Layout Builder, you can actually define essentially multiple layouts by selecting the layout when you add a section. So see here, you have add section. Well, if we were to say select, where is it? I don't know, this one. You can then you can then add blocks to that particular region, but then you can add in another layout below that. So with field layout, essentially you get only a single section. You can only define a single section, whereas with layout builder, you can define multiple sections. And then which means you can define multiple layouts below one another, which is pretty cool. But I don't think you can add another section into a block region. Now that will be nuts. Well, let's see. No, you can't. Okay. I doubt you can. Because what if you want to add another section into a block region? I don't know. So let's just fix this up. Let's delete that. And let's also remove this. So now we only have a single section. So let's put in our blur flipped. I like that. Where is it? Wasn't blur banned from the 90s? Yeah, I'm showing my age. Okay, so blur flipped. And let's add the body field to this region. Now, the UI for layout builder isn't quite there yet, okay? Because remember, this is experimental. So just bear with them while smarter people than myself actually build this out. So what I do recommend is that you use the find feature in your browser. And then let's find body. Let's add that as a block. And then if we scroll all the way down, let's add the comments. I do know comments is just there. And then let's just click on add block. Okay, you can see that our comments has been added. And you can also reorder things as well. But then up the top here, let's add in tags. Now I do know that tags is right there. But we can also add in a free text block. So let's just call this CTA and then just add in a whole bunch of words and then click on add block. And then if you click on it, you can reorder it and also move to other regions, which is pretty cool. So let's scroll back to the top and click on Save Layout. And then if we open up our test article, you can see that our CTA has been added in there. And our tags are here on the right. And then we have a body and comments here at the bottom. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.